Normally, Tesla's quarterly earnings call is guaranteed to be the top news of the week, but this time, Tesla has decided to steal their own thunder by releasing the long-awaited Model S and X refresh. Luckily, InsideEVs contributor Tom Moloughney can handle both, and that's exactly what he's going to be here to talk about in just a few minutes. In addition to some great news, Tesla has also indicated the delays to almost all of its upcoming vehicles, but if you think that all of that kept Elon Musk too busy not to pick up a fight with another company about who's got the best self-driving tech, you would be wrong. Fairday Future is finally set to move forward with the production of FF91. Xpeng P7 over-the-air update will get them very much on par with Tesla's full self-driving feature set, and President Biden is going shopping for an electric car, though he needs over 600,000 of them. And guess who has already offered some help? All of this is coming up next. Welcome to E4 Electric, your #1 source of electric car scoop. If you are interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, well, you came to the right place. All you have to do is click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, let's talk about Tesla's Q4 earnings report, and it's a mixed bag. Tesla has missed Wall Street's expectations on earnings, but beat them on revenues. But who cares about Wall Street unless you've been shorting GameStop? Let's get back to reality, and here's a weird thing. Even though Tesla has made and delivered way more cars in Q4 than they did in Q3, they made less profits doing that. But I think what concerns a lot of people still is that once again, Tesla sold more regulatory credits to other companies that they've made in profits. But it's all part of the game, and Tesla is winning. They also have almost $20 billion in the bank. That was another great news that came out of the earnings report. Elon Musk mentioned that moving forward for the next few years, the delivery growth should be about 50%, which means this year they will make at least 750,000 cars, which I don't think will be a problem because both of their Austin and Berlin factories are going to be coming online definitely by the end of this year. But of course, the biggest news was the refresh of the Model S and Model X. I made a whole different video about that. If you want to know all of the details, you can check it out, but let me give you a quick summary here. The exterior was pretty much kept the same, which I think most people agree is a good thing. The steering wheel is really cool and weird at the same time. Nobody liked it, I think, except for me, though I think it's a moot point because it's probably illegal. But it gave a reason to Lucid Motors to troll Tesla on Twitter, which I guess is a little refreshing. The starting price, however, did go up by $10,000, and that's not retroactively. So anybody who's ordered the Model S or Model X in the last few months will have a surprisingly high first month payment. The center screen is now horizontal because apparently Netflix and games are more important than maps and air conditioning. And there will be no gear selector because, as Elon explained, the car will guess the intended direction. I'm not really sure if I trust Teslas to do that. When I had a Tesla, it couldn't guess when I wanted the door handle to come out or when I wanted not to have a yellow edge around my monitor. So I don't know. There will also be no turn signal stalks on the steering wheel column, which makes me wonder if Tesla has hired way too many BMW designers. But not to worry, the InsideEVs contributor Tom Moloughney will be here to help us figure all of this out. But before that, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Xpeng Motors, China's leading smart EV automaker that just announced its expansion plan for Europe, and the first deliveries have already started. For more, follow Xpeng Motors on Facebook using the link in the description of this video. And by Bosley, don't wait until your hair loss is noticeable. If you are over 35, you most likely already started losing hair. Take action by going to bosley.com/e and get a free information kit and a discount. I'm a customer myself. If you want to become one, go to the link in the description of this video. All right, Tom, so big week for Tesla, and let's start with the earnings report, which I think surprised, a few people, including myself. Their profits went down as their deliveries went up. They sold more regulatory credits than their profits, which means that, in 2020, they essentially, all of their profits came from the green credit sales. What are your thoughts on that? Is this a surprise to you? And if so, what does it say about where Tesla is at currently and moving forward into this 2021 year?
You know, the big story is they were profitable again. I don't personally care that they were a little bit less profitable and that a lot of that came from regulatory credits. I've been hearing people bitch and moan about regulatory credits since Tesla first started. It's part of their business plan. It's profit, so you take it and you use it. Tesla's doing a lot right now. So, factories, they're building out more superchargers. So I'm not concerned that they were not as profitable as last quarter. They turned a profit.
Now, as they were giving guidance for the number of cars we should expect as far as deliveries this and the following years, they didn't give the number, but they essentially said they're going to grow 50% every year, which is also a little bit less than I thought. Like, for example, I thought they could easily get to 1 million cars, this year, and it looks like their target is going to be 750, even though they say they can beat it. Do you think this is enough growth to justify the huge evaluation?
So let's not worry about justifying the valuation because nothing's going to justify the valuation that Tesla has. People are valuing it on what it could be worth in the future. So let's not worry about that. Am I concerned about them setting the bar at 50%? No. There's no automakers out there, Alex, that are selling 50% more year over year. Tesla had been doing better than that earlier. They've been almost doubling sales, but you can't just continue to double sales. At some point, it's going to tail off. And as far as I'm concerned, if they hit 50% increase year over year for the next 4 or 5 years or whatever moving forward, that's fantastic and they'll be fine.
I would agree with that, though I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I think NIO and Xpeng Motors might be the manufacturers that do grow at that rate. But I know they're a little too small to make that estimation. Now, let's talk about the big news. The second big news that came out at the same time is obviously the Model S and Model X refresh. What are your first thoughts on that?
So, long overdue, number one. Number two, obviously, exterior, very minor stuff. But you know what? The interesting thing about these vehicles, they still look fresh. Even though they've been out for a long time, I don't think the Model S looks like it's an old, tired car. It still looks fresh. So they didn't have to do a lot on the outside. Love the interior improvements. Think it's 100% better. I never really liked the S interior, and it was really aging now. As far as the yoke steering wheel, we're not going to see that. We're going to see a regular steering wheel. That's Elon making news. The rest of the interior, I think they did a really good job on it. And good also, powertrain improvements are good also.
Do you think one of the biggest complaints, of course, in the very beginning was that, the Model S wasn't luxury enough? Do you think this is luxury enough, or that's not where they're going anyway?
So, I know it's in the luxury price point, but Elon and Tesla has always said we're not a luxury brand. What you pay for with Tesla is the tech, the battery tech, the user interface, and in that, they're the best. As far as the interior, it's not going to be a top of the line luxurious experience when you sit in it like some of the other top premium brands offer you. However, the other premium brands can't do user interfaces and EV technology like Tesla does. So it's a trade-off.
What would you say would be the biggest miss? Something that you thought that they really needed to add to the Model S and X but didn't?
I like what I've seen. The biggest miss to me, or the biggest thing that's a little confusing, is that steering yoke. I think it was unnecessary to introduce something like this. Probably wouldn't even be legal in most areas around the world. I'm not sure if it would be even legal in the U.S. And I wouldn't want to drive with that. You and I both drove the Mercedes EQS Vision concept, and it had like that yoke. That was terrible to try to make a U-turn when we were going down the runway. So that's, if it's a miss, it's the yoke.
Yeah, I totally agree. I keep grabbing air with my hand where the wheel was not. All right, now you mentioned the price, and this was another surprise, or maybe not. They raised the price by $10,000. I'm not really sure if they raised the price because essentially they just cut out the standard range. But bottom line, it's $10,000 more expensive. Do you think this is going to affect really anything, sales, or even the people's attitude towards buying it?
Yeah, I think it will. $10,000 is $10,000. I definitely think it'll affect sales, and the Model S and Model X currently don't sell that well. I mean, Elon even said, I forget, he tweeted something that they're just kind of like Halo cars at this point because they sell so few of them compared to the 3 and the Y. So yeah, I think it's going to hurt. I think it's a better car now all around. But with that extra $10,000, it's going to make a difference.
And, could they have handled this better in terms of, people who were ordering Model S and Model X in the last couple of months expected a certain look and definitely a certain price. Now Tesla's coming back and saying, "Oh, whoa, the car's going to look different, but also you owe us $10,000 extra dollars." I mean, Tesla have done it before, so but is this still a problem in terms of essentially keeping the customers in the dark? And I mean, is this bait and switch?
Well, it might be. We don't know yet because I don't know if Tesla's announced their policy exactly on what are they going to do for these existing orders. I have a friend that ordered a Model S, and now he's not sure what he's going to get. So Tesla has to make clear what are they going to do with the existing orders that haven't filled, the performance cars versus the Plaid. Are they going to charge people more because now the car costs more and has better options? Are they going to honor the existing orders and give you, say, a better car but not make you pay the upcharge? I mean, personally, I think that's what Tesla should do. If you had an existing order in and now all of a sudden they have a different car with a different price, they should honor the contracts and give you a better car. So I think we have to wait and see how Tesla handles this. As usual with Tesla, the communication is terrible and you just don't know what's going on. I guess we'll find out in a tweet.
Yeah, well, there are some people reporting that basically Tesla is just giving them $2,000 off, which means that they owe extra $8, but that hasn't been really confirmed. But let me ask you the last question, essentially, with the news that we had with the Q4 earnings and the refresh, the stock went down a little bit, but not that that's sometimes an indication. Do you think what we've learned makes the Tesla's future brighter, or does this raise some concerns?
Alex, at this point, Tesla seems bulletproof, honestly. I don't think that, I think this is a blip on the radar.
If you want to hear more from Tom, it's almost always a good idea, so go to his YouTube channel and subscribe. I put a link to it in the description of this video. But not all of the Tesla news this week was great. Elon Musk mentioned that the Tesla Roadster once again will be delayed until 2022, which means it will be at least 5 years after the unveiling until the Roadster will become the reality. And also, with the Model S Plaid Plus 0 to 60 being under 2 seconds, Roadster may have to step it up by the time it goes in production. Elon has also all but confirmed that the Cybertruck deliveries will be moved to the next year. He said that Tesla would be lucky to get a few deliveries by the end of this one, which means we're talking about Q1 of 2022. Now, with the Semi, the situation is a little different. Elon mentioned that Tesla is ready to start producing it, but the shortage of the battery cells will probably force Tesla to move it to the beginning of the next year as well, though they're still targeting later this year to start the limited deliveries. Speaking of the delayed production, nobody has delayed their production more than Fairday Future, a company that literally has 9 lives. I think I literally have like 3 eulogy videos on this channel for Fairday Future, but this time around, it does look like they're finally going to make it. Fairday Future will raise enough money to go in production with their all-electric luxury SUV FF91 by going public via a reverse merger. All the kids are doing it nowadays. Fisker, Nikola, Lordstown Motors, Canoo, and Lucid is joining next. It looks like Fairday Future will also partner with Geely, one of the bigger investors in this deal, to manufacture the FF91. If you remember, the turnaround for Fairday Future has started about a year ago when they fired its founder, who was really the cancer on the organization, and ran it into the ground, and hired the former BMW i program boss and the former CEO of Byton, Karsten Breitfeld.
All right, Karsten, this is my first interview with you since leaving Byton and joining Fairday Future. This is very different. Why did you decide to join a very much struggling startup?
So Fairday Future is a company who is designed and set up to achieve what always was my vision, to become a player in shared mobility ecosystems in the future. So this company is not so much about electric cars. Electric car is the base, but it's designed for different business models. I see this company in a very good position to become the leading party. There are some elements missing, which is execution, which I can bring in here. But there's great technology, great products, and a quite good strategy on the table.
A few months ago, I flew to Los Angeles to be one of the first journalists to drive the FF91, and I absolutely loved it. I'm definitely looking forward for the Fairday Future to now have a future. How many times I have used that line. Now let's talk about some drama, and of course in the middle of all drama is usually Elon Musk, though this time he was not the one who started it. It was Waymo's CEO John Kravchik who said in one of his interviews that even though Tesla has a good driver assistance system, it is pretty much impossible to develop a full self-driving system when you're just improving it one little thing at a time rather than going for the full level 5 autonomy as a goal in the first place. He also said that his company has better sensors, including the LiDAR, and of course Elon Musk just had to reply, of course, on Twitter, and he said, what, we suck? No, you suck. I'm paraphrasing, of course. He essentially said that Tesla has better AI hardware and software than Waymo. Now, earlier this month, the Mobileye CEO has also criticized the way Tesla develops their self-driving tech and said that essentially sooner or later they would hit a ceiling in the way they are rolling out their software. But there might be some truth to it, because a while back that's exactly what happened. Elon said that Tesla had to rewrite the core software for the full self-driving tech because it did hit the ceiling. Now let me remind you that Mobileye, that's now owned by Intel, was originally Tesla's partner and was providing Tesla's first version of the autopilot. But then Mobileye has reportedly refused to roll out a piece of software that they deemed unsafe that Elon Musk wanted them to push out, and their partnership has ended. Elon said that Tesla would develop their own version of the autopilot, and they did, though it took them over 4 years to get to the same point. There's much more to it, and I've done a lot of research on this and a few other topics that I'm going to include in my next video on Thursday, so don't forget to subscribe. XPeng Motors is pushing their biggest over-the-air update to their P7 fleet, which will essentially put their self-driving tech on par with what Tesla has on the market right now. One of more than 40 new features included in this update will be the navigation guided pilot, which is essentially kind of like Tesla's Navigate on Autopilot. One of the features that XPeng is rolling out is something that Tesla doesn't yet have, and they're calling it Surrounding Reality Display. This is where you're going to be able to see your car driving within the 3D map, which I think is pretty cool. But much like Tesla, XPeng also had some unfortunate news this week where they had to voluntarily recall over 13,000 of their electric SUVs G3 due to the power issues. However, none of the recent Norway deliveries were affected. Joe Biden is going electric car shopping on the behalf of the US government, and this is what he's looking for.
The federal government also owns an enormous fleet of vehicles, which we're going to replace with clean electric vehicles made right here in America by American workers, creating millions of jobs, 1 million auto worker jobs in clean energy and vehicles that are net zero emissions.
Now, of course, made in America is a very vague term because it depends whether or not he means all parts have to be made in America or the cars have to be assembled in America. Because even Tesla, that has more parts that are made in America in their cars than any other electric car, still has that number at about 60%. Either way, this is great news because the US government operates over 600,000 vehicles. About 250,000 of them are regular civilian vehicles, 225,000 are post office vehicles, and the rest are military, which is much harder to make electric. And it looks like we already have our first volunteer, the Twitter rookie and the CEO of the Volkswagen Group, Herbert Diess, is already offering to help. Either way, this is great news for electric car revolution, especially here in the United States where we are behind. If you're wondering what to watch next and you haven't figured out all of the details of the Tesla's new Model S and Model X refresh, well, I got a video for you that I just created a few days ago with all of the details. I put a link to it in the description of this video. Looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.